Hello students, my name is Mr. Pochilola, your teacher during this holiday. We are going to be meeting here online for different subjects, science subjects, such as physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. Some of you have also enrolled for additional mathematics, which is good. So this is biology, Form 4 biology. All right, so we'll take topics in Form 4 biology so that we can look at a number of them during this holiday. And remember that physics is totally free, so you learn this in the main forum. There you get the link to this lesson, physics. But if you paid for extra lessons, extra subjects such as biology, chemistry, mathematics, additional mathematics, agriculture, these will be sent to you in a different forum. Okay, may be sent to your directly to your inbox on WhatsApp, or may be given to you in a group also, which I'm going to set up for those who have paid. For those who have paid. All right. So once again, these lessons are recorded on high definition technology, which means that you can view them, you can watch them on HD televisions, on the plasma television. You can watch them on the laptops, on tablets, on tabloids, tablets, iPads, or any other device that supports videos. All right. In case you want to make further ordering of tuition, feel free. The number given here is for you to either call me or just text me to make your request known. All right. I need to specifically express thanks, sincere thanks and gratitude to these people here, the guys, Black Slice Content Masters. All right, they are doing a wonderful job to create content which can be presented online. I don't take this for granted. They are the experts in this area. So if you need them to prepare just anything which can be presented online as video in form of text, you can contact them on the number shown here. All right, so once again, you are most welcome to this biology class. It's a first topic in the Form 4 biology. So our topic of the day is tropisms, and it is the first lesson that we are meeting for now. All right, so it is expected that after you complete the topic, you be able to explain the meaning of tropisms. All right, what tropisms are. You should be able to explain what tropisms are when we are done covering the topic of tropisms. Okay. We shall also be able to describe the types of. All right, so you should be able to describe the types of tropisms. Okay. In addition to that, you have to carry out some investigations on tropisms, and also it is required that you should be able to describe such investigations for you to be able to answer questions descriptive questions that that come in paper 2 of your biology Msce exam. All right. You should also be able to explain how tropisms occur. So this is the scientific explanation. What causes tropisms? All right. What causes tropisms? So we should be able to explain that when we complete this topic. All right. So let us look at some brief introduction about the topic, tropisms. So in this topic, you learn about how plants respond to changes in their environment. So tropism, already you have an idea of what you are going to be discussing. We'll be discussing plants and how they are able to respond to changes in their environment. All right. So a change in the environment that results in changes in activity in an organism's body is called a stimulus. All right, it's called a stimulus. Okay, many are called stimuli. This is supposed to be plural. Here is supposed to be plural. All right, so the plural form of stimulus is stimuli. Many of them. One is called stimulus. Plural is the stimuli. All right, stimuli. Okay, so we are saying that when an organism is exposed to a change in its environment where it lives, in its habitat, all right, it changes its behavior. Okay, it changes its activity. All right, so that change which causes an organism to change its behavior is called the stimulus. Okay, stimulus. Okay, so a stimulus is what? Is a change in an environment that results to changes in activity in an organism's body. Okay, for example, let's suppose that you have been exposed to, an organism has been exposed to high temperature. All right, high temperature. So and the organism will actually change its activity within its body. All right, for example, maybe sweating, you know, that's a response. That is the change in activity. The change in activity. Okay, so we are saying that because there is a change in an environment, an organism's activity will change. Okay, the organism's body will change. All right. Okay, the activities taking place in the organism's body will change in response to the stimulus. So a response is the change in activity. So the change which results from the changes in the organism's environment is called a response. In other words, stimulus produces a response. Right? A stimulus produces a response. For example, let's suppose that let's say you are thirsty, for example. All right, so the thirst there is a stimulus. All right, what you are going to do is you need to drink water. You are going to develop behavior, a new activity. That activity such as drinking water. All right, so you go thirsty, you drink water. So the drinking of the water is the response to the thirsty. All right. Okay, so organisms change their behavior, they change their activity in their bodies when there are changes in their environment. So the change which occurs in an environment is called the stimulus. Okay, the response, the activity which an organism shows in response to the stimulus is called response. So in this case, stimulus produces a response. A stimulus produces a response. Okay, the stimulus produces a response. So plants are capable of responding to changes to light. All right, so plants respond to light. They respond to water or moisture. They respond to temperature, the changes taking place in the environment, such as temperature. Remember, temperature is how cold or hot an environment becomes. So when it gets cold, plants will respond to that. There are going to be changes in their body, all right, in the plant's body, all right. So the changes that occur are what we call steep response, right? So organisms' activity, change in activity is what is called a response, all right? So these things, light, water, temperature, touch or contact, and gravity are all stimuli, all right, to which plants respond. So plants are able to do that. Plants can respond. So we are going to look at some of these responses by plants. So in this section, we'll learn about a type of response which is called tropism. Yeah, tropism. So tropism is the main topic and the main subject in this topic. All right, so we are saying that whenever there are changes in the environment of an organism, an organism's body activity in the body will change. All right, so that change is called response, while the change in the environment is what we call stimulus. When there are many, we say stimuli. All right, so plants are capable of doing that. Whenever there are changes in the environment of the plants where the plant grows, the plant is going to produce a response. Okay, so the response can be to stimuli such as light, presence of water, temperature, touch or contact, as well as gravitational force. So we are going to learn about a type of response called tropism. Okay, so this is just a type of response which plants show when their environment changes. All right, when the environment changes, plants respond to that change. Great. So let's look at the definition of tropism. What is tropism? What is it that we call tropism? Have you ever placed a potted pot to grow in a dark room with a small window, right? For example, suppose maybe you have a potted plant, all right? People like to grow some small funny plants in pots and leave them maybe closer to a window. What have you noticed? What have you noticed to the behavior of the potted plant? Okay, what have you noticed? Regardless of where the plant is placed in the room, the plant will grow towards the window. Have you noticed that before? Okay, so that's typically an example of a response, right? In particular, a type of response called tropism. Tropism. Okay, so regardless or irrespective of where you place the plant in your room, the plant will grow towards the window. Why does it grow to the window? Towards the window, why? Okay, so the light coming from the direction of the window is the stimulus in that case, to which the plant responds by growing towards it. Okay, so the light is the stimulus, right? Light is the stimulus. The response to that stimulus is growth. So the plant grows towards the light coming from the window. That growth is a response, while the light itself is a stimulus. is a stimulus. Great. Okay, so in this case, light from the window, coming from the direction of the window, is a change which is introduced on the plant. So in response to that change, the plant is going to grow towards the light. So here, the light is the stimulus, the growth is the response to the stimulus. That's great. I hope we are moving together here. So this type of response shown by the plant as it grows towards light, which is coming from the direction of the window, is an example of a tropism. It's an example of a tropism. All right. So tropism. Think about tropism as just growth response. Yeah, it's a growth response. Growth response. It's a growth response. That's great. So tropism is growth response of plants. Strictly of plants, not animals. Animals do not undergo tropisms. It's only plants. Okay, so here we are talking about plants, not animals. So we shall define tropism as simply a growth response towards or away from a stimulus coming from one direction. Okay, so it is possible for an organism to grow towards a stimulus or away from a particular stimulus. It's very possible. Sometimes it can be just a part of the plant growing towards a stimulus, and another part of the same plant growing away from that same stimulus. It is possible. So definition of tropism is as stated here. It is a growth response towards or away from a stimulus coming from one direction. In the example given above there, light is coming from the window, all right? Well, light is coming from the window, right? And in response to that, the plant grows towards the light, which is coming from the window. So in that case, tropism is that growth of the plant. So it's a growth response towards or away from a stimulus. All right. So we are saying that growth can be towards or it can be away from the stimulus that is at work. So in this case, the response towards light coming, the response is the growth towards light. We are saying in this case the response is towards light coming from the window. The growth, in this case the growth. So the plant grows towards the window where the light is coming from. So growth here is response. The light coming into the room is the stimulus. So tropism therefore can be defined as growth response. Don't miss this one. This is a key word. Yeah, so this is a key word. Growth response towards or away from a stimulus coming from one direction. I'm sure you got that. The meaning of tropism. What we mean by tropism. So we'll now look at the various types of tropisms. Please, for each tropism, look for the key words that describe it and that make it unique and different from the others. So the first type of tropism is called the phototropism. What comes to your mind when you see the word photo? Photo. What comes to your mind? Okay, for example, you are familiar with words such as photosynthesis. All right, what is photo doing in that word? Okay, photograph, photolysis, and other words that contain the word photo in them. All right, you recall that the word photo means having to do with light. So what is a phototropism? We define phototropism as the growth response involving light. It's the growth response involving light. Phototropism. So it's the growth of a plant in which light is a stimulus. So the stimulus here is light. The response is the growth. All right. So it's the growth response of the plant involving light. So that growth response involving light is known as phototropism. So the response involving growth towards the direction of light is called positive phototropism. So a plant, for example, the example we had earlier on of a potted plant, we said that it can grow towards the direction of the light from the window side. Okay, so in that case, because the plant grows towards the direction of light, we say it is positive phototropism. Is positive. Positive here means growing towards the direction of the stimulus, such as light. Okay? While growth which is away from light is called negative. Away from, it's negative. So the words positive and the negative are just denoting the direction in which the plant grows. So shoots of plants are positively phototrophic or phototropic, meaning that shoots, remember that a shoot is the part of the plant which grows above the ground, consisting of the stem, the leaves, the buds, and all that. So shoots are positively phototropic, meaning that they grow towards light to manufacture food by photosynthesis. All right. Okay, so here we are also, you can see here, the reason why shoots, leaves, stems grow towards light is for them to make food by a process called photosynthesis. Remember, photosynthesis requires light. It's a process by which plants make only food by using light as a source of energy. So shoots refer to the part of the plant which grows above the ground. While roots grow into the ground, instead of growing up, they grow into the ground. All right. So that kind of phototropism is called negative phototropism. So the negative here means that the roots grow away from light into the ground. So here we have an illustration of what we are talking about, phototropism. So we have potted plant, we have a plant here which is enclosed right in a box, so that it is open up there. All right, when a light is incident or falling into the box here, you see that the plant is growing straight upwards. It's growing straight upwards. It's growing straight upwards in the direction of the light. But if we transfer the opening, the window, to this side and bring the light there, the direction of growth is also going to change. All right? So the plant will grow and the shoots will appear to be approaching light. Why? because of a process called phototropism. So in this case, in both cases, the plant, the potted plant is responding towards the direction of light. So this is positive tropism, phototropism. All right. Okay, so the shoots in both cases, the roots in both cases are not involved in upward growth. They are otherwise growing into the soil away from the light, okay, which makes it negative phototropism. Negative phototropism. So very important. We are saying that the growth response towards light is what is called the phototropism. All right. There are two types of phototropisms. It can be positive, it can be negative. It becomes positive if the growth is towards a source of light, and it becomes negative when the growth is away from the source of light. So shoots of plants, the shoots consist of stems and leaves which grow upwards. They are positive phototropic. They are positively phototropic, meaning that they grow towards a source of light, while roots are negatively phototropic, meaning they grow away from light. They grow down into the soil. That's very important to note. I'm sure you captured that about phototropism. The next type of tropism is called geotropism. All right, geotropism. What is geotropism? Geo. The word geo, what does it stand for? Geo stands for what? Geo stands for earth. All right, earth, geography, geometry. All right, geo means earth. All right, or gravity. So the response of plants to gravitational pull is referred to as geotropism. All right, okay. Remember that gravitational pull is a force. It's called the gravitational force, or simply gravity. This is a force of a pulling force which the Earth exerts on all objects that are within its field. All right. So some parts of the plant respond positively to the Earth. All right, by being pulled down, while other parts grow away from it. So roots of the plant, for example, will grow into the soil. Okay, so it is positive geotropism, while shoots of the plant will grow away from the ground. So this is a typical example of negative geotropism. So we are saying the radicle is the part of the plant which is shooting up there, all right, grows towards the, in this case, the radicle is the part of the plant which grows into the soil, into the ground, all right. So the radicle grows towards the force of gravity. Therefore, it is under positive geotropism. All right, so it shows positive geotropism, whereas the plumule grows away from the force of gravity. So the plumule grows away from the force of gravity, it goes up. So we are saying the radicle grows into the ground, thereby executing positive geotropism, whereas the plumule, which is the part growing above the ground, grows away from the force of gravity. So the force of gravity makes the roots grow into the ground, while the shoot grows away from the ground. So in both cases, we have geotropism. The only difference is that roots respond positively to gravity. Therefore, it is called positive geotropism. While as the shoot, the part of the plant, the plumule, grows away from gravity. Therefore, it is executing a negative geotropism there. So please take note the difference between positive geotropism and negative geotropism. Positive geotropism means the part of the plant is growing towards the ground, right? It's responding to the gravitational pull, while the other part, which is experiencing a negative geotropism, is growing away from the ground. So in this case, the plumule shows negative tropism. The third type of tropism is what we call hydrotropism. The word hydro, the prefix hydro, means having to do with water. All right. So growth response by roots towards water in the soil is called the hydrotropism. Hydrotropism. Okay. For example, in this illustration, you see these two plants. All right. This plant here, the root is growing straight into the ground. It's responding to gravity, yes. But if you look at this one here, we have water here, which is placed in a porous spot. Yeah, so we have a porous spot. A porous spot, we have water there. Porous means this spot here has openings, so that the water can percolate through the soil. So as this part of the soil gets wet, all right, the plant roots will grow towards that moisture. All right, you can see this one, this root is bent towards that. All right, this means that the plant is responding to water. So such a tropism is called hydrotropism. Hydro simply means having to do with water. The third type of tropism is what is called thigmotropism. Thigmotropism. Please take note from the word thig. Yeah, thig. A thig is just a part of something like a tree or something, a branch, all right? Okay. So we define thigmotropism as a type of tropism when a plant responds to a movement or a touch from another stimulus. All right. Let's say, for example, a plant such as this one, which is green, is in contact with another tree here. All right. The plant which is in touch with the tree is going to grow around and follow the direction of the tree it is in contact with. So this is an example of thigmotropism. Okay, some plants such as mimosa. Okay, you may have heard about mimosa. Mimosa is a type of plant, and is a ground plant, which when you touch it, it shrinks. Its leaves shrink. That is an example also of thigmotropism, because it occurs as a result of touch. Okay, so these are the 5 types of tropism, 4 types rather of tropism, which we wanted to discuss today. In addition to these, there are also others which involve the response of plants to chemicals, such as fertilizer, for example. All right, is called this one is called chemotropism. All right, okay. All right, so having discussed these types of tropisms, I would like you to answer these questions in your biology book. Okay, you are going to define the term tropism. Define tropism. Okay. Suggest one importance of tropism in plants. Just any importance of tropism in plants. Okay. Define the term positive phototropism. What do we mean by positive phototropism? All right. And explain the importance of phototropism to plants. Okay. And also differentiate between geotropism and the hydrotropism. All right. And lastly, suggest the type of tropism in which plant roots respond to fertilizers in the soil. So please answer all these questions. And like I said, what you do is write the answers in your exercise book. All right. Write them in your exercise book and send to me. Take a picture of the same and send to me so that I can have a look at the answers given. So the answers can be sent directly to my inbox, in my WhatsApp. But in case you have questions relating to any of these items, don't hesitate to ask by sending me a voice note which contains your question. Otherwise, this marks the end of our first lesson. When we meet again, we are going to discuss the experiments involving tropisms, experiments, investigations that can be carried out to show the different types of tropisms. And later on, we are going to look at the explanation of each one of them, how they occur. We are going to look at the biological explanation of each one of them. What happens? All right, so that's what we're going to do in our next lesson, which is lesson number 2. All right, thank you very much. We stop here for now. We meet again in our next lesson, which is lesson number 2 of the topic tropisms. For now, bye bye.